Somebody's on the phone. I don't know who it is. Who's on the phone with us today?
Courtney.
Courtney. This is one of my Twitter buddies, Chris.
Okay, you're a tweeter.
Yeah, now Courtney told me she wasn't sure she was going to be able to call because she gets upset, you know, when the Cats lose. So, Courtney, I want you to meet Chris. Chris is upset, too. Courtney, what did you think about the game?
Oh, you know what? I am not a happy camper right now. I usually don't even talk to anyone after a loss, so you're lucky I called in.
Well, I tell you what, Courtney, did you think that from about the 18, well, start of the second half on to about the 10-minute mark, we just looked like we came out there and going to go through the motions, and they got real intense, and we can't do that on the road.
No, I mean, it almost looks like they're not respecting their opponents when they come out on the road, especially a team like Ole Miss, who's only had one SEC win. So they're coming out flat-footed and thinking, oh, we'll just pick it up in the end.
Well,
Now, Chris, I want you to know that our girl Courtney here, and I call her my girl Courtney, does a blog. And Courtney, you need to give everybody the address of your blog because she really knows her stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, what's your blog?
It is on WordPress.com, and it's called Court's Court.
Okay. And you also, you can follow Courtney on Twitter. See, I keep trying to get Chris on Twitter, and he won't do it.
I'm having a hard enough time with Facebook, much less Twitter.
But she is on there as Wildcatty11, which I love that name.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter, and then every time I write a new blog post, I'll put it up on there as well. It's a work in progress, you know.
Yeah, and usually I try to retweet it too to get her something. All right, what's going to happen Saturday? Are we going to rebound from this nonsense?
You know, I think they will because this team tends to come back after losses. For some reason, it takes a loss for them to kind of get a reality check. So I actually do think they'll win at Florida, but you know, after that, who knows? I mean, we've got so many more away games, and it's almost like every other one at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was wanting Vanderbilt to beat Florida tonight, but I think I don't want that anymore because I know Florida's not going to lose 2 in a row at home, just like we wouldn't probably, and we really need to. We got some guys. I tell you, Courtney, did Darius Miller just disappear tonight or what?
Yeah, his name's Disappearius Miller.
Yeah.
Yeah, tends to not show up very often, and the same thing with Josh Harrelson. I felt like there wasn't very much rebounding tonight. Every time I looked down on the offense, there was when we missed a shot, there was nowhere to be found. There was like all 4 Ole Miss players.
Yeah, and we didn't get any offside help on penetration by their guards at all. They were getting a lot of layups that they shouldn't have got. We finally got Terrence Jones there at the end of the game making some big blocks and giving us an opportunity. And I thought once we went ahead, we'd be all right, and we got that ball back, and then we just flubbed, didn't even get a shot off on that 35-second shot. So
I know, and you can't not get a shot off in that situation. So
you know, you got to shoot it. Somebody's got to shoot it from somewhere, and it's just got to be. What do you? I want to ask you this. Since Eddie tells me you're really follow the game big, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but I will now. It looks like the last few games when Kentucky's had a lead in the last 10 minutes of the game, it's almost like we have gone into a stall type mode, and we won't shoot the ball except for under the 7, 8, 5 seconds. And you think that Coach Cal, you think he's coached them that way to try to save their legs for later in the year since he's only got a 6-man rotation? Or do you think that's just the best we can do? Or what do you think about that? I heard him say this. Let me say this. I heard him say tonight that we played good for 35 minutes against Georgia, but he just wanted to get out of there with a win.
That's not good. I mean, that's a mindset.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Court.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I feel like they're not being aggressive. I also know that a lot of teams are coming out and playing zone, which is going to slow down the game. And it's been pretty effective against Kentucky this year. So that tends to slow it down a lot in the second half as well. But I think they kind of, I think with them being so young, they still have that AAU mindset where they know they're so talented. So I think they feel like, oh, it's okay if they get close. We'll still pull it out.
Hey, Courtney, before you called in, I raised the question is, do we need to start looking at the fact that #1 recruiting classes, although great on paper and impressive, may not always be the way to go to win long-term and consistently?
Well, I think it's too early to determine that, but I think that the key is you can still have a #1 recruiting class. You just can't have them full of one-and-dones. And that is possible. I mean, even this year, I don't think they're all going to leave. I think there's a good chance that Lamb and Knight stay. If you have them combined with our class next year, I mean, that's hard to beat. So I think it's going to take time, and last year was an exception to the rule.
And I don't think, Courtney, we would have lost but maybe one game this year if Enos Cantor had been eligible.
Oh, I 100% agree.
In fact, somebody just tweeted, somebody just restarted the Free Enos movement a few moments ago on Twitter. All right, Courtney, we have to take a break here. Thank you for calling in, and we'll look forward to talking to you again.
Hey, no problem. Y'all have a good night.
Nice meeting you, Courtney. Go Cats.
All right.
All right.